Well, joining me now to discuss the situation in the country, Dr. Ramiz Alakbarov, the UN Secretary-General's Deputy Special Representative for Afghanistan, who is currently in Kabul. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon here on Sky News. For many of our viewers watching that report, it really highlights the plight of the people of Afghanistan. We're talking about the majority of the population on the brink of starvation and needing medical assistance. Talk to me about what you're doing to help address the issues highlighted in that report.
Thank you so much for inviting me and covering this heartbreaking story, which we witness here on the ground every day. In last winter, more than 20 million people have received food assistance from our food sector partners. It is thanks to this assistance that the starvation scenario in winter of 2021-2022 was largely avoided. But with the current state of economy, with the paralyzed economic activity, banking sector closed, our estimates now indicate that more than 19 million people right now are in a state of malnutrition. Out of this, 6.6 million people are in a state of acute malnutrition. Half of the children under 5 are starving or being heavily malnourished, in other words. So what we're doing is that we're bringing the food supplies. We are organizing medical treatment throughout the country, but our resources are not sufficient. The HRP, the Humanitarian Response Plan, is only 50% funded for this, even less. And we need so much more to respond and to prepare for the next winter.
Afghanistan needs so much more on all fronts. I mean, we were looking at medical assistance there. Hospitals cannot cope. You know, the majority of them will have to shut down if something drastic doesn't happen within the next few months. You've touched there on the famine in the country. They're on the brink of famine. Human rights. I was talking earlier on to two women who made it out of Kabul and who are desperate to keep the plight of women and girls in the country at the top of the news agenda. You're trying to help Afghanistan on so many fronts. Does the situation sometimes, to you, seem impossible?
It is. And then let's be honest, this is a very poor country. It has very low level of development overall. It's predominantly rural, and the rural areas are not very well developed. So we have choice of facing this situation every year, where the 20 million people will be in a very difficult shape, or change the strategy and try to work towards some sort of recovery of agro-food systems sector by creating a few million very basic jobs in the farming sector. That will start to produce local food, but that would require a different type of investment. And it takes time to build these investments. And this is irrigation systems, connecting people to the market, building storage facilities for food, supporting farmers with machinery to produce that food. So create an agro-food systems and link people to the market so they will feed themselves. But we're not there yet. That requires also a different type of approach. And in the current political environment, the developmental-like investments are limited. We are resorting to humanitarian response. But humanitarian response will not resolve the problems of Afghanistan, which are systemic and related to the backwardness of Afghan village and to the lack of overall development of the country.
Yeah, can we touch on the political will? Because the Taliban government is shunning the international community. The international community, to a certain extent, is very much shunning the Taliban-led country of Afghanistan. Is there a political will from the international community to help Afghan people, the people that we've seen on the screen this afternoon who are starving in hospitals? What can be done?
Look, in this difficult situation, I could say, in a globally difficult situation, the world did not abandon Afghanistan. We still have received billions of dollars of assistance. And I also believe that the de facto authorities have to make better strides in convincing the international community with the right acts, specifically by bringing girls back to school and taking the right steps towards the women's participation in the economy, which is a very, very simple act, and that will bring a lot of resources back into the economy, so that there would be a mutual movement towards goals which are shared. But let's face it, the recent developments, it's been difficult to convince the good people of the world that it is a good cause to support Afghanistan. And the problem is exactly what you have said. It is not the Taliban, it's not the de facto authorities who are on the taking side of this catastrophe. It's the ordinary people who have no association or anything to do with the political developments of the last years.
Dr. Ramiz Alakbarov, I think your heavy sigh at the start of that answer pretty much summed up the difficult job that you have and so many others have trying to help the people of Afghanistan. And thank you for speaking to us, UN Secretary-General's Deputy Special Representative for Afghanistan. We appreciate you taking the time. Thank you.